Greetings, one and all, and welcome to episode number 7 of Baba Talks. I'm prompted to put this episode out due to a telephone call that I got recently from a principal. One of our teachers was having an issue with something that I had taught, not the teachers, but something I had taught the children and I was using. So I want to talk about that a little bit. So if you don't mind, sit tight for a second, and I'm going to play my little promo, and I'll be back. I promise. Welcome back, everyone, and thanks for sitting through that little promo. I always appreciate it. I am Baba the Storyteller, your ubiquitous bard, and this is episode 7 of Baba Talks. Now, I was prompted to put this episode out from a phone call that I got recently from a principal that I'm working with. And it deals with an issue that I deal with in my seminars and workshops with educators when I'm doing professional development. But what I realized is I've never put it out in a public forum such as this so that it can be easily accessible by more people. I'm going to make this plain. So let me first tell you what happened. I use a lot of call and response. As a cultural educator, I use a lot of tools in my belt that come from, indigenous cultures all over the world, mostly in Africa, because that's some of the traditions I'm steeped in are West African. But when I use call and response, I use it, I believe, differently than the way educators in the West use call and response. The principal who called me, she called to say that one of her teachers began to use the words that I use during call and response. And she was saying that the teacher wasn't having as much success as she has seen me have with the children. Now, there are a lot of reasons for this, but I think I can simplify it by saying this. Words have meaning. Words have depth. And I've gotten this call over the years, or I've spoken to educators over the years, and one of the things they'll express is that they'll see me do something in the classroom and they feel like they can't replicate it. The problem with that is you shouldn't be trying to be Baba the Storyteller, first of all. There's only one, and there's only one you, and we should be who we are, right? I come from that generation of free to be you and me. Some of you will remember that, some of you won't. But you need to be who you are. And when using call and response, what I have tried to teach educators is that I don't use it as a means of control. I don't use it as a form of managing behavior. I know a lot of educators do. I know a lot of teachers do. But for me, if you're using cultural activities this way, then you're defeating the purpose of why they should be used. And here's why I say that. The words that I use have an intent behind them. Each time I use the words in my call and response, I'm solidifying a relationship. And let me give you an example. One of the call and response modalities that I use, the figurative translation, because there are so many different ways of saying it, but the figurative translation is your heart open to me? So when I use the words in a rhythmic way that I call out to the children, I'm asking, are your hearts open to me? When the children respond, they're responding with, our hearts are open to you. But every time I use those words, the intent behind the words, the meaning, I understand why I'm using it, and I strategically use it when it needs to be used. And the aspect I think that's missing when a lot of people try to replicate what I do is there's not only the intent, but the eye contact. I am engaging my listener continuously. So whether I have 20 or 30 or 40 children in a room, I make eye contact with every single child. So when I'm asking, is your heart open to me, or your heart's open to me, I'm looking in the eyes of the children I talk to. I'm not looking at it as a mean of control. I'm looking for an affirmation that you are permitting me to enter into this communal arrangement with you. And I keep that sincerity there. which is why I talk about listening with the heart. Now, I hope I'm not getting too ethereal in this, because I really want educators to understand why I'm successful in what I do, and even why others are equally successful. If you are trying to mimic what you see externally, it's never going to work. But if you approach it with some depth of understanding and respect, cultural respect for what it is, it will work. Here's the other part of this, though. What I'm saying is not easy. It is not easy to do. It takes a lot of self-reflection and self-work to be able to walk into an environment and to be able to engage at that level continuously. And the problem that a lot of educators, teachers, specifically I'm going to talk about teachers, get into is we get all of these theorists who can walk into a classroom and can be rock stars in that moment for the time that they're with the children, and the lights are blaring, and it's beautiful. It's wonderful to see our children respond to that. But theory is different in practice. And what I pride myself on, after having done this for more than 25 years, touring schools, thousands of schools, what I pride myself on is taking tools that teachers can use immediately. And you don't have to go to the local teacher supply store. You don't have to go online. You don't have to look through Pinterest. Everything that I give when I do my professional development, when I work with teachers, is what they already possess. We just have to bring it out. You have to be affirmed that you are in this craft for a reason. So be careful about using cultural dynamics or other cultural modalities as means of control, because you will never be successful with that. You just won't. But if you give of yourself, it almost doesn't matter what language or cultural modality you use, you will be successful. That's the difficult part, giving of self. So here's something I like to tell teachers all the time. If you approach what you are doing in your classroom as a job, it's going to wear on your soul. There's no other way to put it. But if you approach it as a craft, because teaching is a craft, then you'll realize it's something that you need to grow in and through continuously, your entire career. You'll see it as being able to transcend from one moment to the next. And when you engage not just your craft of teaching that way, but your life as well, children feed on that. That is what we call the leading by example in other ways. There are times when you'll need to be vulnerable. There are times when you'll need to be strong. There are times when you'll need to demonstrate how you overcome something to the children. There's no other way around it. I wish there was. I wish I could tell you, oh, here's a magic wand we can wave and children will be taught and it'll be easy on you. But it's exhausting. Working with children, if you do it correctly, is exhausting, because you are constantly giving and giving and giving, which brings me back to the call and response. The intent behind what you say is important. It's very important. Most often, how you say something is going to be more important than what you say. Because children listen through their heart initially. And if you can reach them there, children will learn more for you than they will from you. So I'm going to bring this to a close, because I try to make these Baba Talks short and concise. I think I'm probably starting to repeat myself a little bit. But if you have any questions about what I'm saying, or any differences of opinion, I welcome those as well. Because like I say, I'm a work in progress as well. Email me. You can email me at babathestoryteller@gmail.com. Once again, I'll put it here, babathestoryteller@gmail.com. And I look forward to, once again, engaging anyone and everyone, even if you have a difference of opinion with me, because it helps me. I'm not looking to be a calcified mind or soul. I hope to be learning until the day I exit this earth. So once again, I'm Baba the Storyteller, your ubiquitous bard. You can reach me at babathestoryteller@gmail.com. The next few episodes, I'll probably be talking about a few international trips that are coming up. I have Senegal, West Africa, coming up in it's a few weeks actually. And where else am I going? Argentina. I have a trip to Argentina, and there's a few others, but those are the ones that are coming up immediately. I love it when you guys join me on those trips. It makes me feel still close to home, especially when we have internet access and you comment or leave my little hearts and stuff like that. So I'll talk about those in the next episode of Baba Talks. So until our paths cross again, Doni Doni Kononi Benyagada.